My videos are ad-free. So if you like these types of videos, like and subscribe. What's the most baddest thing you've accidentally said in the heat of the moment? We had an overly dramatic neighbor who always claimed she was sick and dying. My mom came to see my kids in the middle of battling stage 4 lung cancer. The neighbor pulled her, "Hi Rita, so glad to see you. Did Jason tell you that I am dying?" My mom looked right at her, smiled and said, "Me too, dear. But not today." Never more proud of her. I was eating McDonald's with a few friends and I started choking. The only thing I managed to say in the whole ordeal was, "I'm choking." Around the time I was 12, I was at a family party with my dad and aunt's uncles. My dad told me that one of my uncles owned several bars. My response: "Oh, it's good that he got into a business that he knows something about." I had no idea what I really was saying. I thought I was giving him a compliment. This was back in my junior year of college. At the beginning of the semester, I was introducing myself to my very intimidating biochemistry professor. Guy was a genius, but also a hard ass. Students were all terrified to ask him questions, because he was known for grilling people, and if they hadn't made enough effort beforehand, he'd send them out of his office to learn on their own. As I walked into his office, he was sorting through some boxes, and made a really sarcastic comment regarding stuffing me in the box, and shipping it off somewhere. He looked up for my response, and I just blurted out without thinking I wouldn't mind going somewhere nice. Dude laughed so hard it actually startled me a little. We got along pretty well for the remainder of the semester, so it all worked out really well. It's amazing what a little laughter can do to ease tension. Got to work one morning. My chosen football team had thrashed my boss's chosen team. I gave him a load of shit for it. Humorously, of course. My boss is great. He gave me some shit back, and told me to do a stock take on all items we have beginning with the letter C. I pointed at him and said, "1." Luckily, he took it the correct way, and laughed a lot. "There's no way you're this much of an asshole naturally. You must go home and practice." I said this to a coworker who was throwing a fit and bullying a quieter coworker, because he was pissed off. He had a habit of just being a giant ouch anytime things didn't go his way. This comment pissed him off, so much he just stormed into his office, and stayed there the rest of the day. Win for the rest of us. Long story short, my friend would share my sexcapades with other people, which I would rather he didn't. Got fed up and ended up blurting out, "Just because you don't have your own stories to share doesn't mean you have to share mine." The first day camping at a 2016 music festival, I headed off with a 4-gallon jug to get water. The girl who was with our group, who I'd never met before, asked if I needed help. I responded, "No, but I'd sure love some company. We're getting married this fall." One time I popped the blood vessels in my eye, and had blood dripping down my face, and some kid says, "Hey man, you're bleeding," to which I responded, "Shit, cold fooled me." Then I fucked it up by touching my face, and seeing the blood and immediately going, "Ah shit, guess you were right." I had a surgery, and when I woke up, the nurse was really cute, so I started flirting with her with no success. I had a second surgery, and when I woke up, it was the same cute nurse. My first words to her were, "How many surgeries do I have to have before I get your phone number?" We've been married 8 years now. I was crazy about this dude. He was intelligent, hot, funny, and a bit older. After a few weeks of dating, he said he wasn't ready for a commitment. I told him to come pick up his book from my place, and not to reach out again as it hurt too much. I was that into him. So he comes to my apartment, I hand him the book, and begin to shut the door. He puts his foot in the way to stop it, and says, "I don't know what to do. I'm not ready, but I can't stop thinking about you." Moving my hand off the door, I hand him the book anyways, and said, "Then pick me up at 7. Anyways, now we're married." Respect should be earned, not given. To some old lady at an extended family gathering. She was saying some mean stuff about the homeless where she lived, and I told her how inconsiderate she was. Then she told me to respect her, and not rebut her. Duck me, I'm going to be late, after waking up from a concussion that left blood still dripping down my head an hour after, in which period I went and proceeded to sit a history final exam. In a discussion with my parents in which they were clearly wrong and missing the point, they began yelling, because they really hadn't arguments, and started talking about the respect I owed them as their son, saying that I was disrespectful for contradicting their position. I just answered something like, "From where would I learn respect, if I haven't seen you guys respecting me or anyone?" And they went completely silent. In my country there was a song, "Are you horny, or do you want a cookie?" The guy used this as a pickup line. My answer, "I was horny, but after your face, give me the cookie." I was accused of being passive-aggressive. I replied, "Which part sounded passive? I don't ever want to come across as passive." Was working in a job, and the head manager from out of state came in for a visit. It was a quiet work day, so everyone is managing to look busy when he rocks around. He asks how our day's going, and I pipe up, "Ah, just trying to look busy." He didn't say much back and walked out of the room. My peers just looked at me like, "WTF did you just say that for?" I'm facepalming and wanting to hide under a rock. I came out to my friend as a lesbian. She told me that it was unnatural, so I said it's more natural than your tits. We're not friends anymore. A mate was really drunk and jokingly hitting on our mate's pot plant during a party. He asked if she came here often. I quipped, bitch, olive here. It was in fact an olive tree. A friend of mine was giving me shit while we were all bowling. Off the cuff I yelled at him, "You're adopted. Your parents don't even like you." He laughed, because, you know, friends. Like 3 hours later it hit me, and I turned around and said, "Holy shit XX. You're adopted, I completely forgot. I'm so sorry dude." Which he thought made the whole situation even funnier. As someone with a suicidal history and multiple attempts, I was a bouncer at the time, and my response to "I'll fucking kill you" was "You can't kill me. I can't even kill me. Trust me, I've tried. I'm a tech nerd, have always been into phones, computers, etc. One of my exes hated this. You see, I wasn't giving her my absolute, undivided devotion of. One day she complained that I loved my electronics more than I loved her. Without even thinking, I said, "Yeah, they have a mute button." I tripped going upstairs at my university. Several people came over to make sure I was okay. I'm fine, just my shins and my ego bruise, so I was trying to make light of it by joking walking is hard and stairs are tricky at the same time, but I just ended up squawking stairs hard in a girl's face before I ran off. Sigh. I was working it for a company when Network Solutions had a massive DNS outage. My manager, GM of the company, smart but not it, asked me what was wrong besides DNS on the host side. My response was DNS acts like a phone book, looking up our web address and directing it to the correct place. The phone book is on fire. I worked at a bookstore and a customer asked me, "How often do the periodicals come out?" I deadpanned periodically. And he asked to speak to my manager. Worth it. Me and my girlfriend at the time were having a discussion about her going back to school. She kept putting it off every semester, and one day she got angry at me trying to get her to actually go back, not just talk about it, and she yelled Rome wasn't built in a day. And I responded, "Yeah, but it was built." And a decade later I still think of that. I asked a gunnery sergeant if he wanted to take it outside during a slightly heated meeting. Backstory. He was the government manager of a DOD software project. He had quit smoking, I had not. So every time I went out to smoke he would bum a cigarette. What I meant to say was, "Do you want to continue this conversation outside? Well, I enjoy a cigarette which I am happy to share." I didn't realize the nature of my comment when I wrote it, but in high school, one of my teachers did end of the year anonymous evaluations. Everyone hated him, and I understood why, but I still did well in his class. I wrote, "I don't have any critiques about your teaching, but I think you should work on being a better person." I was being made fun of for being overweight, so I just said I have to keep the weight up, playing your ma in the next Free Willy film, you cunt. It took them a second to understand it, which was also funny. In 5th grade, where cursing was cool, at the lunch table someone said "fuck you" to me, and then I quickly retorted "you would," and the whole lunch table of 5th graders said "oh." It was an epic burn at the time. Forensic biology professor brings out a fresh human brain as a surprise to a stunned class. You have no idea what I had to go through to get this. The skull. Dude I worked with had a stutter, and was a bit of an asshole. One day he goes, "Hey Wrangler, do you think you're going straight to hell because gay?" And my response was, "Hey Anthony, do you think God gave you stutter, so you could think twice about what you say to people?" The whole wait station stopped and silence. I was telling a coworker about an absurd customer interaction I had that day, and in front of everyone he basically called me a liar, and said he didn't believe me, and without pause I replied, "Yeah, I'm not Jesus, I don't need you to believe me. I'm just telling you how it is." Working retail, a Karen once told me she hoped I die. I was so into work mode that I blankly responded, "I mean, we all die. That's not much of a threat." Maybe it was my lack of intimidation or blank stare, but that really shut her up. I'll always remember this. Back in high school, debate class. Teacher was explaining to an extremely talkative girl that she can't just interrupt and talk down to her opponent. Girl said something like, "I know how to talk," and I said, "Yeah, we know." The class laughed, and I was cool for a moment. I was playing an online game and going up against a bunch of griefers. I had my crew with me, but I was the only one on the mic. My friends were killing everything, and I was calling out the locations from a place of relative safety. One of the griefers got sick of not being able to sneak around, got pretty abusive with me, and finally was like, "Who the fuck are you?" I said, "You can call me God, because I'm the bitch deciding whether you live or die." Thanks for watching, subscribe for more videos like these, and feel free to suggest specific topics or stories.